Soft is there, and so too is MAQ00007. Soft is up there. I have to say, Pataki's in third position.
As they come up to the finish now, the lead out, and Hushoft is he going to pull off the big surprise as Tor Hushoft breaks for the line. Now where is the Max Missile? There he goes, over the top. Somebody just launched him, and forget it, because MAQ00007 is streets ahead of the Tour de France when it comes to a sprint finish. And Pataki comes over in second place. He will win the green jersey. Paul, it's as if somebody just pulls a catapult.
So I'm curious, does anyone know where this is from? There you go.
It's from the Tour de France.
Yeah, it's from the Tour de France, and in specific, it's from the 2010 Tour de France. It's the last dash to the line, the final stage in Paris. So before I begin, just to give you a little bit of background on me, I'm Devin, and I've been watching the tour for the past 11 years, mainly due to my father and his brothers, because they're huge cycling fans. So if it wasn't apparent already, my topic is the Tour de France. It goes all around France and is sort of like a Super Bowl of cycling. For today, though, I want to focus on the 3 major jerseys you can win in the Tour de France, those being the yellow jersey, the green jersey, and the polka dot jersey. So let's start with the most important one, the yellow jersey, or the maillot jaune as it's called in French. So this is worn by the overall leader of the race, and they generally, well, they have to have the lowest aggregate time with each successive stage. And they also have to be very well-rounded athletes. So on flat stages, obviously they have to avoid crashes because those you can get injuries, and they also have to avoid being in the back of the group if there's a potential split, because those gaps cause losses of time. However, where they really like to be is mountains, because mountains provide opportunities for them to gain times on their opponents by attacking or counterattacking in hopes that they get a split between them and the rival behind them, because that's time in their pocket. However, perhaps the most important thing that they have to be able to do is time trials. And this is where individual riders are by themselves on the road and they're racing for the fastest time on course. Tour de France's can be won or lost on just these stages. And perhaps the best example of that is, as James Stark mentions in the book that's being passed around, Greg LeMond won the yellow jersey off the back of Laurent Fignon in the last stage time trial of the Tour de France. And he was 50 seconds behind before the stage started, and then he rode, I think it's the fastest time trial in history, and won by just 8 seconds. And that's, to this day, the smallest margin of victory in the Tour de France. So enough of the yellow jersey, let's go to the green jersey. And this is reserved for the sprinters in the Tour de France. And as might be expected, these are individuals with very powerful and quick bursts of speed. They really get to show and display their speed on flat stages. And these stages often come down to bunch sprints, which can be very chaotic and dangerous, but nevertheless very exciting for the spectators. However, despite the glory of the flat stages, they really don't factor in on mountain stages, and it's not uncommon for them to sort of just drift off the back. And if they race for anything, it's to race to stay inside the elimination time and not for the win. So after these guys are having a chill time at the back with the beer from the spectators. So the exact opposite of the green jersey is the polka dot jersey. And this jersey is reserved for the riders whose talent is exclusively in mountain climbing. That's why it's also called the King of the Mountains jersey. These riders can climb up mountains as quick, if not quicker, than the yellow jersey contenders. And the only reason why they don't factor into the overall yellow jersey race is because they lack in other areas like the time trials. These riders, perhaps the most prestigious stage these riders can win is Alpe d'Huez, and this mountain is well known for the fact that it has 21 switchbacks, which really prolongs the journey up the mountain. It is also really popular with spectators, and this is actually a particular switchback called Dutch Corner. And as you can see, they sort of just crowd the road, and even riders sometimes don't know where they're supposed to go, really. So I just wanted to briefly mention that there are actually a lot of other awards and other types of riders that are in the Tour de France, but the three major ones are the riders who win the yellow, the green, or the polka dot jersey. So to conclude, the 20 to 21 stages of the Tour de France traverse a lot of different geography, from flat plains to undulating hills and up mountain passes. And riders can be really good at sprinting or climbing mountains or time trials. And so the three major jerseys of the Tour de France are meant to recognize the specific talent of those riders in their respective specialities. So if you ever happen to one of these days watch the Tour de France and you see a rider wearing yellow, green, or polka dots, then you should be able to guess more often than not what their strengths and their specialities are.